Played good. I think they was productive at times, but again, we always got room for improvement. But it definitely was a good first game overall. But as a defense, finding ways to put pressure on them, guys flying around, making plays when they needed to in the secondary, and we found the way to win that game. So you got to keep it going. So
Aaron, what's key for you guys to shut down Seattle in the second half?
we kind of we felt like we were playing good. We kind of let them slip through a couple runs here and there, but pretty much we just came out and guys just kept playing. We really didn't change much. Had a little talk. We thought we was doing well, so really wasn't no correction. We just had to keep playing. So
When you look at the San Francisco offense from your position, do you look at how they spread the ball, or do you look at strictly what you'll be facing?
you got to look at all that because I think all that ties into what they do. A lot of things they want you to play aggressive at times so they can get that cutoff with the running back. So they got a good back, so you got to be stout, you got to be squared, you got to play with good technique to be able to play against a back like that. Because he can skinny through little holes and make plays for 50-yard, 60-yard runs on you. So you got to be stout, you got to be disciplined, and then when your opportunities come to take them chances, you take them, and you got to make the play. So.
You mentioned the couple runs that Seattle was able to break off. What lessons do you want the defense to take from the run film Sunday?
Well, I think it was just guys just being aggressive, a little too aggressive at times, and it cut back. But it's things that is easy corrections. It wasn't nobody as far as technique things. It was just somebody probably overplaying something that a little too aggressive, and that's easy correction. So.
James Smith said in his post-game presser that, I'm paraphrasing here, but that you guys played harder. It seemed like you wanted it more. How do you make that not just sort of a first day thing? How do you sustain that through, especially really tough games like this one coming up?
You just build off it. Obviously, we got a young team, but a lot of guys is flying around. A lot of guys are playing with confidence. That's what it's about. So you just keep playing. You got to obviously it started at practice, start in the film room, all that, getting the game plan, and then transforming that on the practice field, and feeling comfortable going into Sunday. As long as we do that, we'll be fine. So.
I know you only have one game to look at this season, but through the years, it seems like they were effective at getting the ball out really quick before you guys could get back there. Do you see a similar kind of game plan from them, even with a different quarterback?
You never know, but I'm pretty sure they're going to stick to what they've been successful with. So, again, we just got to keep playing. Guys got to swarm to the ball, and, we just got to do what we need to do on defense. So.
Yesterday, Sean had said there's a small room for error because of the young team, but to still play aggressive and not be afraid to make a mistake. How do you teach that to a young guy?
I don't think it's teaching. It's just playing the game. The game you've been playing since kids. You got to play with that confidence. You got to play with that swagger. You got to take them chances that sometimes it's out the scheme. But as long as you make the play and prove that you can make the play, you get the green light to make them decisions to do that at times. So it just comes with playing the game and building that confidence. But you just got to let guys play. You can't kind of control guys too much to the point where they're playing like robots. You want to be able to play free, play fast, and be out there and be productive. So.
Did you see that confidence grow in some of the younger guys, just with the success you guys had in week one?
Well, I seen it during camp. I seen it through the process of early camp to the end of camp, how guys were playing with confidence through the preseason. And like I said, been saying, we had to see how it translate during the Sundays, and I think it translated pretty well. So we just got to keep building off that, keep working, not be satisfied. But, it was a good start. We just got to keep it up.
I know you're not on the field with him, obviously, during games, but with Puka Nakua, he says, shoot and gosh a lot when he's talking to us. And is he like that on the field, too, when you've gone against him in practice, or does he get a little bit more
I don't know. I never really heard him say much on the field. He's just working. He's just playing, and he had a great game. We got to continue to build off that. We need to continue to have guys play like that at a high level, week in and week out. So, but I never heard him really say much for the field.
Nick Bosa just signed a huge contract, and there have been other guys that in the last few years that have kind of cashed in, defensive players, defensive linemen that have cashed in. Do you feel at all like a little bit of a pioneer in terms of someone who opened the gates for pass rushers to be compensated like they are now?
No, not me. It's obviously the market's going to change. Guys come before me that get a certain amount of money, and then obviously the next guy up is supposed to jump that. So that's what it's about. So I wouldn't say that, but I guess I helped a little bit get that number up.
I totally respect, hey, we got to build on it, move past. But you've been saying since camp arrived, you kind of had this internal, want to prove some people wrong. One game doesn't make a season, but what was it like to run off that field with that convincing of a win on the road?
It felt good. It felt really good. I wouldn't lie. Definitely for me. Like I said, I ain't played football since December, so to be back out there with them guys, first game of the season in Seattle, and found a way to come away with a win. I was happy. I was excited about it, but you enjoyed that Sunday and right back to work on Monday. So.
All set? Thanks, sir.
Yep.
Good. How are you?
Talking about this upcoming game, you know the 49ers defense is very well. How are good against the pass and run? Have you found any weak links in their defense?
No, they haven't had many weak links for the last few years, right? I mean, that's why they've been one of the top defenses. Starts up front for them on both sides, really, but up front they're the best, if not one of the best in this league. They get off their quarterback. You know, Kasarik does such a great job with that D-line. You know, so you can in just that front seven. So they're good. You know, and it's going to be we're going to have our work cut out for us.
Yesterday, Puka was talking about like how much fun he has in run blocking. Like what stands out to you about his run blocking, and how important is that for the young receiver to embrace that early in their career?
Yeah, I mean, Puka's a big, strong guy, you know, and so it's not just because you're big and strong doesn't mean you love to do it, but Yarbs does such a great job in that room and just the standard at which it takes. It takes all 11 in this league to run the ball, so it's not just exclusive to the offensive line and the tight ends. Having a good running back, having a good game plan, those receivers, they got to put their face in there, and when they do, it sets a tone for everyone else on offense. So it's good that he's embraced that. You know, I think that's the culture he walked into, and like I said, giving Yarbs a lot of credit for getting that done.
You coached a lot of young players before. I asked you this kind of at the beginning of camp as well. It's like, how can you see when a receiver specifically gets hit? Like, what is the aha moment?
When they break the huddle, you know, there's a lot of things that are said in that huddle for a rookie receiver that they've never experienced in their life. You know, a lot of these guys have never huddled up in their life, dating back, you know, through high school. Maybe I guess in Pop Warner, I don't know. My son's only 5 years old right now, so I'm not into that level yet. But no, he's he's just grown every single day, every single week, and you can tell the comfort he has breaking that huddle. Matthew's like poetry in the huddle too. I mean, it's as easy to follow as any quarterback I've ever been around. So kudos to him for that. But he's mature for his age for sure.
So just to follow up too on that, a little bit more granular. Like, is it a body language thing? Is it what do you think?
Yeah, you can see it in the look in their eyes. You know, I mean, again, every guy's going to be a little bit different on how they approach it and stuff like that. It's fun watching how every individual does it. I won't even mention names, but some, when the first parts of the play call are coming in, they're pointing to what direction they have to break to go to the huddle, and you can almost kind of see them playing the play out with their hand and stuff like that. And for Puka, it's just, again, he just breaks it with confidence, and then he goes.
Mike, outside of his numbers, what did you like about Matthew's performance?
I mean, all the stuff that I've gotten to see since April and that I've heard about him his whole career, just his leadership out there, his toughness, how much fun he's having, and every week's going to be a little bit different. I don't know if we're always going to, go into a stadium and throw up 30 and beat a team 30-13 or wherever the heck the final was. But I know this, he's going to have fun and he's going to compete. And you could see that, on the silent tape in terms of when we got in on Monday morning, you could see he was having fun and you could feel it out there. And I know everyone else felt it too from our sideline, from our coaches. And that stuff's contagious, especially when your quarterback's doing that.
A lot was discussed last week about your role as a play caller, now being on the headset. Success does a lot. What did you feel like being on with Sean, and how would you describe it and that moving forward?
It was a great 3.5 hours, and again, it's fun with Matthew, watching, Sean's calling it into him and just watching how Matthew directs that thing, and from the huddle and the tempo and all that, it's top notch. So it was a good collaborative effort amongst everyone. I thought every position coach was on it, seeing it the same way with their tablets, getting the message relayed to the players, and I thought Sean and I had great dialogue.
How do you like Kyron brings to the backfield when he's out there?
Another guy that's just super smart. I knew about Kyron obviously coming out like we all did, studying the draft guys, and so you knew that about him. But there's hearing it, but then actually seeing it. And so he's a guy that once you tell him once he gets one of those reps, he's got that stuff locked in. There's really nothing he can't do in terms of protection, pass game, run game. So I believe he's just getting started with kind of where he's at, and he's continuing to get better. He's got a great attitude. He approaches it the right way.
When a team like the Niners has 5 sacks in the opening week, does that how much does that play in your game plan? You obviously know, as you stated earlier, how great they are up front, but does it change the way you kind of scheme?
You know, you always every team you play. I mean, Seattle last week, you know, San Francisco this week, whoever we play the following week. You're always thinking inside out as is. You know, I learned that right when I got in the league with Kyle, anyways, and then you really learn it when you have to go against Aaron Donald for 4 straight years being in the division. He makes you a better coach because you have to think of it that way. And these guys, they pose a lot of problems up front, so you always have to approach it from inside out in both phases and then build it from there. So yeah, I mean, it's a challenge.
Greg, Puka's mature. Where do you see that come out? I guess, like, in what instances between the building or on the field do you see and think that?
Kind of just all of it. Again, just the demeanor that he carries himself with. He's been making plays since OTAs, you know, and he's got it's not, you know, Puka's not arrived by any means. He had a great game, and no one was surprised by it. Cool thing about Puka is he's going to continue to build off that and continue to work the right way. He's not satisfied with any of that. He's, you know, I don't know what his individual goals are. I don't think he even cares. I think he's just doing whatever he can to help the team, whether it's in the run game, pass game, whatever he has to do. I know, you know, Puka's got the right mindset to get that done.
A little bit bigger picture question. You guys are doing different things this year in the run and the pass game than you've seen for the past 2 years with John. Obviously, there's some throwbacks to previous times and stuff too. But I'm more curious about when you guys are building those ideas. What is that like? How do you introduce ideas to what we have heard as a head coach who wants new ideas?
Yeah, I mean, it's the evolution of just the league too, right? Every year you got to keep evolving. If you don't, I mean, it's going to end quickly for you, you know. So you're always just trying to evolve. And again, everything, no matter what you do, you better your players better A, know what you're asking from them, and B, they better be capable of doing it. So everything that we've done that might be different or the same all has to do with the guys that we're putting out there, because none of it really matters if you know, we're not putting them in position to be successful based on their own traits, you know. And they've always done a great job here, and I feel like we did it this year of bringing in guys that we feel is going to fit the vision of what we're trying to get done, both on both sides of the ball. And then you just kind of build from there, you know, and see where the thing's going and see where the trends. You think you know where the defensive trends are going, but you don't really know until you get a few weeks into the season, and then you kind of evolve from there, you know, as we go again. But always player focused. What can those guys do, and what can we do to help them, you know, be successful?
I have 2 questions. First, what do you think Cam needs to do to maximize the opportunities that he got in that game and going forward?
Yeah, it's never going to be just one guy. You know, there was. Let's say it like this, you know, in pass protection, I thought we did a great job. Was it perfect by any means? No, but was it good? Yeah, they did a very good job of keeping Matthew, you know, clean back there. In the run game, again, it takes all 11. That wasn't our best effort across the board, and that's something that's a big focus for us. You know, just moving forward will always be a big focus. We weren't satisfied with how we ran the ball, so yeah, I mean, I know, you know, Cam statistically wasn't what it was, but again, it's all 11. And so we don't look at it like, I didn't know what he had at the end of the game. I just, hey, here's how we're going to coach this particular play for Cam, for the left guard, for the right tackle, for the quarterback carrying out his fake. Hey, are we running the right scheme? There's too much involved in just saying, hey, it's, you know, this guy has to do this to be successful. It takes all 11, and I truly mean that.
Finally, obviously, your focus is here with the Rams and whatnot, but I know you still have friends with the Jets and whatnot, and to see what happened there, you know, with Aaron and how they have to process that. As an offensive coordinator, how does someone kind of move forward with that? I mean, how does that get processed?
Show goes on. I mean, no one really cares. You know, been in part of a lot of different teams that have had a lot of injuries. Last year they had a lot of injuries here. No one really cares. You know, the show goes on, and you move on. And that's why you have the rosters you have, and that's why you keep developing the guys that you got. And if you're worried about that kind of stuff, your heart breaks for a guy like Aaron Rodgers, right? I mean, or for anyone that's losing their season, because they love it and they put so much time into it. But as a coach, if you're thinking about it for longer than 30 seconds, you've already lost that 30 seconds. You got to move on because the league's not waiting. So, thanks, guys.
How you guys doing? Gary?
What did you like about what Kobe Turner and Byron Young did in each of their respective roles in week one, and what do you want to see from them this week?
Talking about just two young guys that went out and played with great energy, great effort, and really, for the most part, did the right thing. Had a couple mistakes, which you should expect, and it was a lot of correcting the mistakes that we had a lot of fun with correcting this week, and you have a lot of fun correcting those things. You can coach them harder when you get a big win like that opening the season, and those guys buy in a little bit more, right? The belief starts to set in. These guys get a bit more confident and all of those things, but it's just really good. It's just a really good way to start off coaching young guys with their effort, their energy that they brought, the juice, going out there being able to finish that game like we kind of had hope with Aaron Donald leading the Catalyst as a rusher, and those guys being able to rush off them and play off them. It was a really good look for us.
I think the 49ers have a very tough offense, especially with Christian McCaffrey. How much does your game plan focus on him? What is the balance for stopping their running game versus their pass?
Claudia, he is a pain in the neck. Make no mistake about it. Like this, I feel like he's following me. He was in the NFC South, and then he followed me to the West just to torture me a little bit more, right? So, you're talking about one of the best who's ever played in our game from a dual standpoint. We had a guy like that here in Gurley, and the type of stuff that they present and the challenge that they present. And there is no, what do you got to stop, the run or the pass when you're talking about a guy like this. This guy is just dominant at every facet of it, and you got a plan to slow him down. You got a plan to go out there and put yourself out there to make some plays, but they are loaded with playmakers, and that's what make those guys go. Like Kyle Shanahan prides himself on finding these jokers, the Deebo Samuels, the McCaffreys, the Ayuks, Kittles, all these different guys that can move around and do different things. Check, he's a pain in the neck also. And these guys go out there and able to create different personnel groupings with the same people. And it's a pain in the neck. And you got to prepare for those guys in equal way. You got to get your guys to play sound, relentless football and play to our capabilities. It's more about us than them.
Aaron's going to attract a lot of the attention from defenses, but did you get the sense watching the film from Sunday that as the game progressed that those younger guys were starting to take a little bit of pressure off of Aaron and make the offense play a little bit truer?
I don't know if you can take pressure off Aaron. I think that's kind of like talking about Christian McCaffrey and those kind of guys. Do they open things up for other people? There's no question about that. But I really believe, Aaron picks his spots. He chooses wisely. He sets people up. And then when he gets an opportunity, you make one mistake, he makes you pay. And what I got a sense of is these guys playing together, playing for one another. The general enthusiasm that they had when they were getting sacks at the end, the 2 sacks they got at the end of the pressure, was what you want from your rush group. When you look out there, you can just look and say, hey, those guys really like each other. And that's a good feeling from a coach. That's a good feeling from a fan. That's a good feeling for all of us. So I really think it's more of that. I don't know if they can ever relieve Aaron. You're not going to come this week and say, hey, we're not going to slide to Aaron. Oh, you're sliding to Aaron. We're going to make those guys do their job, and they got to do their job at a high level in order for us to remain consistent and be able to do the stuff that we did.
Is there a specific player on this team?
Sarah is so rude. Go ahead.
You've seen him improve a ton because of time they spent with Aaron, either on the defensive side because they played with him, or on the offensive side because they're going against him in practice.
You're answering the question. I know you already got this article written because the way you answered that, but yes, everything you said is so true, Sarah. He's gotten Avila better to help us grow and get better on offense, and he's gotten our whole offensive line better because we move him up and down the line of scrimmage, let him go get different people. Now, I was laughing today. McClendon got a chance to play scout team in our first week of practice, and he goes, he's unstoppable out here. I was like, how do you think they feel inside? And then you're talking about just from an offense standpoint, and you talk about from being on the outside of the ball and how he talks to those guys when they're in their meeting rooms and how he talks to those guys on the practice fields. And really, I don't know what the best thing he does with those guys, but I know he breeds confidence when you go play with them. So, he breeds confidence in the people around him to go out there and play better, and there's no doubt about that, in my opinion.
Just a couple more guys. As you look at your career and having spent time with Kyle at 2 different places.
He's also a pain in the neck.
So when you're scheming every week against someone, do you find yourself scheming different, looking at it different because you know him and know his tendencies?
Yeah, it's fun. You take a challenge in these type of things when you go against Kyle. I get that same exuberance in practice. Having Mike LaFleur here, having Sean McVay here, those type of fun tendencies come out. That competitive edge. We'll dog each cuss each other from the sideline, kind of. You know, we got our body mannerisms. I know when he's talking junk. I know his mannerism. When he drops the script, let it hang for a little while. You know, that's basically his little swag move, you know. So we got our little things that we do as friends and that we do as family. And those things come out in practice with Sean. When he's going, he's just sprints all over the place, and you can't find him to get the next call or find out what the personnel grouping is. All of those things happen because of we've coached together, we've worked together, we've done so many things together, got so much respect for each other. But we definitely, just make no mistake about it, want to go out there and beat each other. The ultimate bragging rights. You know, we got a whole series of it, of whatever that podcast. And it's embarrassing when you go back and listen to some of that stuff, you know, but there's no doubt about it. It's true, you know, and there's a bunch of other guys out there in the league that you feel that way. You know, he went up against Mike Tomlin last week and really gave him the business. And, you know, those type of things are things you look forward to in the profession.
How have you seen Kyle change, evolve, grow?
Every single game. I think he learns every single time he goes out there. It's hard to say that he's grown because I remember him coming in, he was coming straight from college, from Duke, from Texas, wherever you want to say, and he came right to the National Football League. He had all the answers then. And he got it all from his dad, and he told us how to run the nakeds. He taught us all keepers, and he got all stuff from John Gruden. He got enamored with everything. He did everything, and then you just watch him pare himself down to be what he wants to be, and that's just what he is now.
You've gotten to know Jordan Fuller really well for the last couple of years.
Sure.
And watch some of the highs and the lows that he's been through. What do you make of him as a person?
Oh, man, you can't have a better person. You know, most of the lows have been because of injury. The highs are when he feels like he did the other day, and he's able to run around and play as fast as he's able to play and make his teams go. But to see our leadership group really become more than just paper at the game, talking about Fuller leading the charge and effort, talking about Ernest leading the charge in communication, and you talk about Aaron doing the things that we just talked about with Sarah. Watching that whole full circle of leadership come to life on Sunday is what we're about. When you're talking about the person, you're just talking about the guy that you want to be like, the guy you want to model your game after, the guy that asks the uncomfortable questions in the meeting rooms, the guy that wants all the answers before Sunday if he can get them so he can get it to his guys, not to go out there and really cause any problems, but to fix it before we get to them. And it's just an awesome feeling to be around.
What does that mean, uncomfortable questions?
You know, a lot of times in those meetings, when you're in those meetings and guys are presenting, you know, people don't want to stop the meeting and ask the question. He's always the guy to stop the meeting and ask the question, no matter what it is, even if it's not for him. He may feel a little confusion in the corner, and he may ask that question just for that corner, knowing he may not want to speak up at that moment. And he lets those uncomfortable conversations come out where they become comfortable. The regard I have for him is so high because of the injuries, because of the battle back, because of the person that I know he is. I coached his brother. They were the same human. They were great people, raised the right way, got a unique background, very to themselves, but at the same time, givers to the people around them.
Piggybacking
Last
off
one.
of that, just in
Just
terms
gave it a
of
look right there.
just
You did.
no, I'm happy to be here. In terms of just coaching a young group of guys outside of some of the veterans that you do have on the team, what is the message and how are you kind of coaching them up in terms of like big matchups like this one?
It's so funny, you know, like I don't include the big matchup part. They're all big matchups in the National Football League, the way we look at it. But it's more about us, right? The focus has really been on us, you know, like let's correct the things that we didn't do as well we wanted to do last week. Let's improve on the things that we did well. Let's go out and practice the right way, not because we have to, because we're capable of doing that, right? Let's play with that stuff that we're talking about. You know, you hear Coach talk all the time, the weave, right? Our work ethic, our enthusiasm, our attention, you know, our vibe and our energy, right? Those things that we want to bring to every single day. And if we can bring those things, the great leaders make their people do the best things. And that's how we want to do it. So it's just like feeding off that message, being the best version of ourselves, going out there and really paying attention to our core beliefs and making those things come to life in practice and being ready to play all the big games, no matter what game it is, because they're all big.
All set.
All right. See you guys later. It's a nice place.